Welcome to the daily views on September 11th in 2021. First, let's go to London in the UK. Thousands of other badgers are said to be culled in England in the fight against a contagious animal disease. The Natural England Authority identified 7 other areas on Tuesday evening in which 5,300 to 7,300 animals are to be killed, including areas in the English counties of Hampshire, Oxfordshire and Berkshire. Up to 76,000 badgers are to be culled in 33 areas that have already been designated. The British government is fighting against the contagious animal disease bovine tuberculosis, which can be transmitted from badgers to cattle. Therefore, they have been systematically killed in affected areas since 2013. According to the government, measures against the disease cost UK taxpayers £100 million each year, as tens of thousands of farm animals affected are also killed each year. Vaccinations for cattle are also currently being tested. The disease recently made headlines beyond Great Britain when the sick alpaca Geronimo had to be killed on the orders of the British government. Its owner had previously fought vigorously against the decision because she thought the tests were flawed and her Geronimo was healthy. And now let's go to Managua in Nicaragua. Nicaragua's public prosecutor's office has applied for an arrest warrant against the renowned writer, human rights activist, and former vice president Sergio Ramirez. He is accused of inciting hatred and violence, as the public prosecutor announced on Wednesday. The judiciary in Nicaragua has been taking action against the opposition and other government critics for months. With Ramirez, a former comrade in arms of the authoritarian President Daniel Ortega, is once again affected. The former deputy president was also accused of receiving money from the Violeta Barrios de Chamorro Foundation, the prosecutor said. The money is said to have flowed to people and organizations that try to destabilize the Central American country economically and socially. The Journalism Foundation, named after a former president, has been under investigation for months on charges of money laundering, among other things. The former head of the foundation, Cristiana Chamorro, daughter of the ex-president and candidate for the top candidacy of an opposition party in the presidential election on November 7th, has been under house arrest since the beginning of June. Since then, more than 30 government critics have been arrested, including 6 other presidential candidates and 1 vice presidential candidate. Should tell us enough already. After the overthrow of the dictator Anastasio Somoza by the left Sandinista in 1979, Ramirez was initially a member of the government junta in Nicaragua and was vice president under Ortega from 85 to 90. Ortega, now 75, lost the 1990 election to Violeta Barrios de Chamorro, but has reigned since 2007. The novel Dance of the Masks belonged to Ramirez's literary work. In 2017, he received the prestigious Spanish Cervantes Literature Prize. The 79-year-old fell out with Ortega. And in interviews, he recently called him a dictator and the election a farce. And now, let's go to Geneva in Switzerland. The head of the World Trade Organization, the WTO, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has called on the member states to dismantle trade restrictions. Trade is a crucial factor in tackling global challenges such as climate change and, of course, the coronavirus pandemic, Okonjo-Iweala said at an online event organized by the UK think tank Chatham House on Wednesday. For example, the manufacturers of corona vaccines are dependent on global supply chains. These would be jeopardized by export restrictions, said the WTO Director General. Free trade is a force for good, Okonjo-Iweala continued. And now, let's go to Arica in Chile. In Chile, children from the age of 6 are to be vaccinated against the coronavirus in the future. The vaccination campaign for children between the ages of 6 and 11 will start on Monday next week, said Health Minister Enrique París on Wednesday during a visit to the city of Arica in the north of the country. The children are to be vaccinated with a CoronaVac vaccine from the Chinese pharmaceutical company Sinovac. Earlier this week, the Public Health Institute gave the vaccine emergency approval for children 6 years and older. Chile is one of the countries with the highest proportion of vaccinated people in the population. Over 86% of Chileans are already fully vaccinated against the coronavirus. The Chinese vaccine CoronaVac was mainly used in the vaccination campaign in Chile. On Monday, Cuba became the first country in Latin America to start vaccinating children between the ages of 2 and 11 against the coronavirus. The preparation Soberana 02 developed there is used on the socialist Caribbean island. Cuba has a lot of experience in vaccine development, but the study results on the Cuban vaccines have not yet been independently verified. And now, let's go to New Orleans in the United States of America. After the Hurricane Ida, the authorities in the southern US state of Louisiana corrected the number of fatalities as a result of the hurricane upwards. The health department said on Wednesday that up to and including Monday, 9 people had died as a result of the storm-related power outages due to overheating and 2 more due to carbon poisoning. The official balance now shows 26 fatalities, the last was 15. Because of the ongoing power outages after the storm, hundreds of thousands of people were unable to use their air conditioning despite the summer heat. Because of the power outages, many also use generators, which pose a risk of poisoning without adequate ventilation and distance from the house. Ida hit the Louisiana coast southwest of the city New Orleans on August 29th as a dangerous 4 out of 5 hurricane coming from the Gulf of Mexico. The hurricane caused massive damage. Most recently, around 300,000 households in the state still had no electricity. Ida moved in on a northeasterly direction and weakened over land. At the end of last week, the remnants of the storm in the northeastern United States caused severe weather and catastrophic floods. According to US media, at least 46 people were killed in the New York region. And now, once again, we have to go to Geneva in Switzerland. The head of the World Health Organization, the WHO, has criticized the priorities of pharmaceutical manufacturers in the distribution of COVID vaccines. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus responded on Wednesday to a message from the International Industry Association, IFPMA, according to which rich countries now have so many vaccine doses that they could give doses to poorer countries without restricting their own vaccination campaigns. He said, "I was horrified when I read that. There has long been enough vaccine for rich and poor countries." According to the WHO, 80% of all corona vaccinations worldwide have so far been given in countries with high and middle incomes. Not a single poor country has yet achieved a vaccination rate of 10%. "We have called for equal treatment from the start, not only when the richest countries are supplied," said Tedros at a press conference. And he said, "As long as the companies and countries that control global supply think that the world's poor should be content with what is left, I will not be silent." Tedros spoke out against booster vaccinations again. By suspending third vaccinations, people in all countries could be protected from COVID-19 faster, he said. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.